Evening. Welcome to the Ent Center for the Arts at UCCS. My name is David Siegel. I'm the executive director here at the Ent Center and thrilled to welcome you to the Chapman Foundation's Recital Hall and thrilled to welcome Zhang, this remarkable artist, for a lecture and his opening this evening. The UCCS Visiting Artists and Critics Series was founded in 2011 as a collaborative program between GOCA, the Galleries of Contemporary Art, and the Visual Art and Art History programs here in the Visual and Performing Arts Department. Over the past more than a decade now, the series has co-produced, which, as I said, is co-produced by GOCA and the Visual Art and Art History programs, has invited artists and scholars to the UCCS campus to present public lectures and meet with undergraduate students in classes and workshop settings. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the sponsors that made the VACS lecture possible, as well as C's exhibition, Exit Childtown. And we could not do this project without their support. They are Colorado Creative Industries, the City of Colorado Springs Lodging and Automobile Rental Tax Fund, Visit Colorado Springs, and finally the B. Vredenberg Foundation. Let's give them a round of applause. I also want to thank the members of the GOCA Advisory Board. I know many of whom are here this evening. If you're part of the GOCA Advisory Board, would you give a wave? And thank you for all you do to support GOCA, as well as members of the GOCA PAC. Again, we could not do this without their support. We fundraise for 100% of the exhibition costs, and so very grateful to the GOCA PAC and the GOCA board for their support. Finally, I'd like to thank the UCCS Visual and Performing Arts Department and our UCCS Student Government Association, as well as the GOCA staff, Lene Bowman-Cravens and Abigail Kopetsky. They have lifted heaven and earth to make this exhibition possible, and very, very grateful for their support, as well as the former GOCA director, Daisy McGowan, who seeded the idea of this exhibition years ago. Thank you, Lene, Abigail, and Daisy, and give them a round of applause. And speaking of Lene, it's my pleasure to introduce the GOCA exhibition and events manager, Lene Bowman-Cravens. GOCA is in wonderful hands during this leadership transition because of Lene's expertise and hard work, and we are so lucky to have you. Lene.
Hi, thank you all for coming. Before I introduce C so he can tell you about his wonderful show and the work in the show, I do want to acknowledge the GOCA team because they have put so much effort into this exhibition and putting it together. So Abigail Kopetsky, who is our gallery manager, and our wonderful GOCA student employees, many of who this is the first show they're putting together, and honestly it's so gorgeous. I'm very proud of the work that they've done. I also want to thank our former director, Daisy McGowan, for bringing this exhibition to UCCS, as well as I really need to give a special acknowledgement to Ivar Zell, who is the guest curator for this exhibition. He did such a wonderful job selecting the works that you'll see in the gallery, as well as working side by side with the gallery staff to actually physically put the show together. So thank you so much, Ivar, for your hard work on this exhibition. So tonight's lecture is by artist Zhang. So born in 1984 in Kaifeng, China, C completed his studies in painting at China's Beijing Institute of Art and Design. He moved to the United States to further his artistic training at Denver, Colorado's Rocky Mountain College of Art and Design. He received his Bachelor's of Fine Arts in painting in 2008, and that same year was recognized by then Denver Post art critic Kyle MacMillan as the Emerging Artist of the Year. It is known for his well-developed and surprisingly mature vision. Zhang continued his education with his master's in studies in painting at the University of Colorado in Boulder, where he received an MFA from the Institute in 2011. Zhang has been featured in many notable shows, including the Songzhuang Multimedia Art Exhibition in Beijing, the URA in Argentina, and the Biennial of America in the US. His work has also been featured on CNN, PBS, NPR, and in Juxtapoz magazine. There are so many more amazing places that he's shown internationally and has been featured in internationally, so please check out his website so you can see all of those amazing accolades. Zhang is represented by Plus Contemporary Fine Arts Gallery in Denver and Mark Strauss Gallery in New York. This lecture is part of C's show that is Exit Childtown, which is located just next door in the Marie Walsh Sharpe Contemporary Arts Gallery. The opening reception is happening right now. So after the show, please come and join us in the space until 8 p.m. to talk to C about his wonderful work and the show and what you see in the presentation today. So now I have the pleasure, please help me introducing C. Zhang to the stage. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, I really want to take a moment to appreciate my mentor and great colleague, great inspiration, Master Ivar. And it's been for years, he has been guiding me and to mature my current vision. Just tell you a story. I was in Rocky Mountain College of Art Design. Just got into the program when I was 19 years old. Everybody taking Clark Ricker's class. I love Clark Ricker, everybody does. He's the most influential painter in the region. And in Clark Ricker class, besides this amazing teaching, another thing we all kind of envy or inspired or jealous some senior students is because Master Clark will invite Ivar to a classroom, give us one-on-one personal critique. And for kids like us who have an opportunity to study with one of the legends in Denver art community, it felt really fortunate. Now, knowing Ivar about 15 years now, I think, and have an opportunity to working with this master again, that's very grateful. And most importantly, sometimes my painting just stored on the attic. I don't even know what they look like after a month. Right now I have a visionary master to put the show together along with an amazing team from this institution. It's totally transformed my vision about my own painting. So once again, please, I want to give thanks to Master Ivar. Thank you. And now I'm going to shift into my own research. So about in 2014 or 2015-ish, I completed about 14 almost parallel body of work. Some tag into more remix culture, some more tag into the even photorealism, and none of them felt truly speak to my heart. And I went back to my original intent. I asked myself a hard question. Let's say tomorrow if the world gonna be end, what does really matter to me? As a human being, also as an artist, what's really important to me? Then I went back to my early childhood memory to think what inspired me to be an artist. Then I realized those two wonderful film directors played a major role in my early inspiration. The one on the left you see is Wong Kar-wai, and this film is Ash of Time. The one on the right is done by Pete Takashi. This particular film is called Dolls. I watched the film, I believe when I was 13 years old. In that time, I really want to potentially become either painter or filmmaker. Actually, by the time I finished high school, I attempted to apply Beijing Art Institute for film. I did pass the academic test. However, guess what? My English is not good enough, so I didn't get into the institution. I guess that's a lucky charm for me, actually, pushing me to come to United States to study art. Anyway, go back to original point to talking about those two film directors' work. Even though I'm a Kaifeng-born wild kid, have nothing connect with Japanese urban culture, or have nothing to do with fantasy vision from Hong Kong film director. But for some reason, deep down, those two films connect me deeply beyond time and space. And I ask myself a question, why? And once again, what is important to me as a maker? So once again, go back to the early question, what is important to me? I think the most important to me actually is the people in my small circle, maybe my family and friends, like everybody else. Then I realize what truly inspires artists, at least for myself, is something that almost have a documentary quality, what's their life like, what they exist like. I want to pay homage with simple day-to-day life. What's a portrait like? Instead of physical appearance, what's a mind like? Actually, another author has been influenced me as an artist is the Roman Roland, Nobel Prize winner in the last century. And his most famous book is Christoph, I read when I was 12, and talking about a journey of a musician actually has gone through so much unexpected challenge to finally master his vision. And in Roman Roland's book, same book, he said, if you know you are not the only one having challenge such as depression or such as lost someone, then you realize that you are not alone, that you will be able to find sense of hope that through a hopeless situation. Again, let me rephrase it. Is if you realize you are not the only one in this scenario, then you are not alone. So it will give you a sense of comfort and ease and hope to make you moving forward. Actually, I brought this early inspiration to my current body of work, Mentality for Garden. Okay, how about I using that as my inspiration and a foundation to making this the new set of painting. So, and the second inspiration actually from a music producer is we call Chinese Brian Eno, and he mentioned if you're writing a song trying to reach to everybody without heartfelt connection, you won't be able to reach anyone. However, if you just authentically trying to reach to one person, your kid, your mother, your best friend, and you may be able to reach to everyone. Once again, I take this particularly adapt of the practice into the Mentality Leaf Garden series. So again, I'm just looking at my own personal life and friends close to me to see what kind of challenge they have. And maybe I can stage a scenario to let them to see, okay, this is a painting actually made for me, not from someone that don't know me, but someone deep down knows me to make this work. The first piece I made, one of the first pieces I made is called Room, is depicting a friend of mine actually constantly struggle with one's past. And even though facing years of help from myself and other professionals, but seemingly cannot get out of the loop of the old trauma. So in this scenario, in this painting, I portrait this individual stuck into a seemingly difficult situation. However, become a comfortable environment when not willing to moving forward. I'm not trying to judge, but rather I see myself sometimes in the similar shoes. So therefore, creating a picture even though it's for her or in a strange way, but at the same time it's for myself, to almost tell myself, this is okay, we are okay. Does it make sense? Okay. The second one is actually, second piece I'm showing here is slightly later in that series, trying to pay a homage to my own childhood. I still remember, I know right now I'm 40, and don't laugh at me, but I still close my eye. I can picture when I was 7 years old, play with my neighbor's house. Then simple 2-floor building, everything is what we vision like. We are pirates, and the sky actually is falling, and we'll be able to using any material around us, transform, actually become a defensive weapon. And we flow in the Titanic boat, and next to us maybe is Mars. Now that doesn't make any sense, but at the same time makes so real. Now I'm asking myself a hard question: from what moment this type behaves no longer there? What's the moment I call myself as adult? What's the moment I no longer can call myself a kid anymore? So almost in this painting, I know there's another aspect of painting I read on my art statement about the refuge. Yes, it's also too, but most importantly, I think I made this painting for me, to trying to pay homage to memory of my childhood. At the same time, I hope give some people a confident, it is okay, skies not always have to be blue, can be pink if you like them to. The third one, and connect to the first painting, is I realized me and many of my friends trying to use our early memory and experience to project future. Like even today, even looking on my phone, what potentially service job I might potentially fail when I go back to university next week. And that's even not happened yet. I'm already projecting the future that something not gonna work. Then I made this particular painting trying to remind myself, or potentially my friends, is that the future actually is a blank canvas. Whatever we project is only mirage. Now, maybe happen, might not. But however, if I keep living into the projection of the future, I might lost the courage to moving forward. Then the next painting called Dung Beetle. I made this particular for my mom. I don't know if she even know that, but I believe when I post on social media and she did saw it, I didn't want to directly to tell her, hey, this painting is about you. But I think subconsciously she knows. Again, my mom is a very simple person, just like everybody's mom. Facing so much challenge, especially when I was growing up, but never laying a finger on me, even though China, you know how they train the kids sometimes, especially if you're my generation or early generation, and never tell me any of her struggle, and always using the best care and the best smile to comfort me. But I know there's a lot on her. So therefore, after, I don't know, 35 years, I decided to make a painting for my mom. Yes, it's for my mom. And I really hope through this painting, some individual, maybe your friends, or maybe even yourself, could find a sense of comfort that all the hardship on your back, you are not by yourself. Someone are sharing a similar struggle with you. And I hope through this image can bring slightly sense of comfort. The last image I want to show in the first category, a portrait of somebody, is titled as The Wand. Actually, it's made for my grandma. There's one famous Japanese book. Unfortunately, I don't know the English translation. It's about a small village. When the senior reached to the age of 70, the younger son or daughter will carry the senior to the mountain, left them to die, just because they don't have enough resource. In order to making sure the next generation to survive, the elderly are willingly to give up everything, including their one's life, to climb onto a cold, miserable mountain, and making sure once a spring can be offspring could keep survive. And this reminds me again of my grandma, similar with my mom, but even more so that I actually grew up with pretty much my grandma taking care of me since elementary school to middle school. Again, she has faced physically and mental challenge on and off, and really, I'm her best friend, I believe. She always just told me her deepest secret. But the one particular memory she told me, okay, Grandma, if you hear this, I hope it's okay. And so she said, I think when I was in middle school and came back from training in Beijing in our program, she said, see, I'm so glad you are here, because for a moment, I thought we would never see each other again. And I was like, why? You are healthy, you are beautiful, you are strong. And what happened? And she been telling me her physical challenge is going so over the top. And she said she was thinking about in the one's life journey by going to Yellow River, which is one of the major river in her hometown. And the only reason she said she didn't not decide to do so is because she wanted to see me one last time. And I was so touched. And in this painting, the magic wand is her cane, and this almost creating a symbolic movement through paint. You see the curl actually is transformed from her own blood. Okay. Then once again, after that, creating that piece, actually reminded myself is that I really want to get the painting more personal. Even nobody care about all this work, that's okay. I want to create the painting actually not for winning big awards or getting to a major institution. Even nobody see it. I need to making some work so true to me or so true to my family. And then I said, who is most important in my life? Of course, right now we have Master Ivor and my lovely wife. Those two are dearly to me. But I have to recall is that my grandma, she's my hero. The reason she's hero is because she's not someone fantasy. It's someone simple, just like everybody else. So when I shift the gear, making a change in mentality of leaf guard painting, a subcategory painting only focus on my grandma. Then the first painting I'm going to show is called the Kino. And even though this painting, quote unquote, finished in 2021, however, I think this painting took me about 2 or 3 years to finish, one version of another. It's almost one's own journey. You had to find the right message, right symbol. So in this scenario, by the way, this painting is based on one of the photograph during my wedding with my lovely wife, Kate, here. And on the left is my grandma. And if you see on her belt is something we use for car. I know grandma, again, she's not a wealthy person, but she gave everything she has for me and during the wedding. Even her own old house want to give me as a gift, even though she doesn't have anything. So in this scenario, I'm creating a old senior to transfer self as a car, a vehicle, even though she cannot afford one. Then on the right again is the bride, again making my heart glowing. And but I want once again to share everyone the process of this painting. Started actually almost 3 or 4 years ago. But you see the revolution of the painting. One last thing I want to share about the process of all my painting is that many of the painting, yes, I will take 2 weeks to complete. But however, normally each painting would take 3 to 4 years to truly finish. I can't bring them back once in a while, or layers. The painting you see next door, one of the work I think I started probably almost 7 years ago. Underneath so many different vision. But again, to honor the person, I'm not trying to give a job finished because I need to pay my homage to my loved ones. Prior to the keynote painting, I made 2 pieces before the keynote. Again, I like those, I do at the moment, but however, still felt something is missing. So I'm glad the blessing from my grandma and the universe finally gave me the conclusion, finding the right moment of the can. Okay. I think about 2019, my grandma starting have dementia and losing her memory. But one thing she keep her going is that she started love sewing, almost a body reaction to seeing the little joy on her face. It's just precious. So in this painting, it's once again based on photograph I took, actually might be my grandpa took and gave to me. And in the beginning of the painting, I remember I put many detail that the object she liked, but just felt not right. Something is not connecting with her, and I start just blur everything, making her body become fire in the beginning, early vision. It still doesn't feel right. Then I realized actually I might transfer everything else, the thing she's sewing next to her become the fire. I felt that feels a little bit right, close to the experience I'm with her. Then start removing her features. Oh, that feels even more right. It's almost that in and out, she's sometimes there, sometimes not there. That experience captured my real connection with the moment of her. The next piece is called The Music Box. I think by the time of 2019, actually by 2016, she already started losing her memory. And by the 2018, late 2018, 19, she's 90% of her, I think, is already no longer there. And luckily, before COVID, me and Kate, fortunate to visit her. And about a whole month, I remember I saw her smiled once. She somehow recognized me. And the sun, exactly the same composition, I remember smiled at me. I was like, oh wow, so happy to see a smile. Then again, it's gone. And not necessarily sad, but rather a moment of that reflection on, really interesting how much our life is connecting with our memory. Memory is not only hers, also my memory is with her. Sometimes I really like that John Wick. John Wick said in the last movie, I know, cheesy, right? But she said the reason why he wants to survive is because he wants to live, to want her, the memory of his wife can live forever while he's living. So similar to creating this painting, again, to honor her moment of this moment of her, the struggle of her, my connection with her. I sometimes so longing, even just tiny movement from her body will make the whole world shaking. So in this scenario, creating the bell, in the painting, creating a bell on every moving objects next to her, hoping just subtle movement means potentially she can calling me or her son or her daughter. And I really hope just even one more moment, that'll be enough. The next painting is called Toy Story. It's prior the earlier work. This one I want to go back to a funny story, even though this is mostly designated to my own grandma. And I want to, if not oversharing, my wife's grandma, Gladys, also suffered with the dementia. And right before she passed, the summer, I think 2014, 2015-ish, we were all in a party and drinking, eating. I don't drink, guys. I really don't like alcohol. But if I have to drink, the only alcohol I drink is White Russian. And because of that, people keep making fun of me, saying, what Big Busky? Something like the movie? I even never watched it. It's my nickname during whole college. Everybody making fun. It's great. But I still love the White Russian. So that's my Christmas gift. Thanks to my wife's family. I love you guys. And Gladys, I believe, sat next to me. She doesn't have much memory. I just believe she started opening a bottle of White Russian, happily drinking all of it with a smile. So again, Toy Story is part of it inspired by her. And another thing very fascinating about people getting old without losing memory is they become more and more like children. I'm saying it in a grateful way, actually. So somehow I connect with my grandma, actually instead of talking with a child to a senior, but rather almost talking to your own kid. To say, hey, look, grandma, here's a toy. She will have glow. I mean, that's early time with her. Well, she's not fully lost her memory yet. Then, again, I love Gladys and I love my grandma. Hopefully this painting can bring slightly some comfort to those of us who are fortunate to live with someone maybe potentially losing their memory. Let's be patient with them. Bring a toy with them. 2019, yes, 2019. I went to Nepal with a group of friends and my wife, and then we stopped by my hometown, China. And wait, I think Kate left. For some reason, Kate left early. Then planned going back to China. Then my flight got canceled. Not canceled, no. Actually, I don't know how many of you doing international traveling. I'm traveling from China to United States, but however, I need to transfer a flight. In Canada, right now Canada has a policy. If you have a green card, you need to get a special document, even though you are not get off the flight in Canada, but you still need a document. I was so mad because my flight is about to take off. So in 20 minutes, I need to get the document. Normally take 40 hours. I was so mad. So I had to go back to home and say, oh, mama, look, my flight cannot take off. Anyway, that was joking, but I'm glad actually the flight had encountered difficult. Allows me to take an image, my aunt with my grandma laying next to each other on bed. I took the photo for myself actually. Very inspirational is because seeing the how much my auntie has taken care of my grandma by using one's resource. For instance, by very late stage of her dementia, she cannot even chew. So my aunt pretty much have to chew everything for her mother in order to making her to be able to survive. And my aunt normally only sleep a little bit one day, and I finally to see my aunt sleep nicely next to my grandma, so peaceful, and I love that image. Then flight took off. I think about maybe a couple weeks later, my grandma has left this world to heaven with love your grandma. So I thought, wow, I'm so glad. I'm thank you to Canada to give the document so I can share this document. This document photo for myself. Then during COVID, and almost creating a moment for myself to mourn, and so made this piece called Sleeping Beauty. Titles are extremely important for every piece of mine. Sometimes seemingly absurd, but each of them actually take a long time to come up with, had to deal with some content. So Sleeping Beauty, I think I want to making fairy tales still can happen no matter what age you are. Because this time, this fairy tale become true. Why? They live in my painting forever. And I want to honor those love. Okay. All right, then I'm going through the rest work this her and him slightly quickly. So therefore we have slightly more time to talk about the work I shown in next door. And again, inspired by the narrative from my grandma, also very inspired by Kate's parents, proud to say, my papa, mama, Bob and Sandy, to constructing a dual relationship. So Bob and Sandy, hard worker, like any small business owner, they're in their 70s or 80s all the time. My goodness, hard worker. Still felt, I don't know, I'm so spoiled. But seeing someone in that age that is still pushing, you, no matter what kind of difficult encounter, still believe there's a bright future. So therefore, every challenge almost becomes a stepstone for them to moving forward. Bob Sandy, this painting created by 2015, right now become my own collection. And the reason is that almost gave me the courage to moving forward. Why? If we had to share all the challenge of the Bob and Sandy, probably going to take another 2 hours. But I think just look at your own life, your parents' life. I think you know what I'm talking about. I think everyone's life worth to celebrate if we just care to watch. And again, this is a piece to honor all the hardship. But remember, that's still a door for the future. Might be not bright right away, but we keep walking. There might be a bright future waiting for you. Then again, second thing inspired me about Bob and Sandy is I'm jealous actually. My parents have their difficulty on and off, but seeing Bob and Sandy, their love is, I'm really envy. It's almost like they're kids. Really, the way they say to each other, making me blush. And so I created this scenario is that both of them fly in, they met when they're early 30s, early 40s, but never lost the innocence of a true love and a pure love. Sounds like that's Hollywood BS, but really, I think the living evidence, wow, after that many years, doesn't lose any integrity of their passion for each other. Inspiration for me. Then actually, by looking at that piece, I did make a painting based on me and Kate. However, the model is not us. It's somebody else through a film still. But one thing I more and more learned in the 10 years of my wife is that when more, at least for me, my end is that when we're looking at each other, actually we're looking at ourselves. The difficulty I have with my wife, and not necessarily with her, probably with me. We always want hopefully someone will come for us to make us complete. That's great. I think that's beautiful wish, but I think sometimes we also need to know that I'm talking to myself, not talking to everyone else, is that to overcome the couple's challenge, I might need to overcome my own challenge first. So therefore not bring to all the darkness into the relationship all the time. Make sense? Okay. Then this one, again, similarly, based on my master, Kung Fu master, keep telling me and Kate that don't hold too tight. You need a space. When yes, you love each other, but sometimes when you hold too tight, there might become a damage. One last piece in this session is the called the remain. I'm thinking a little bit about my grandpa, and visualize, and me and Kate talking about we had to face reality. It'd be great if both parents live exactly the same amount of time, conclude at the same time. But we need to face a situation one of the parent might be took off earlier than another. Now visualize that scenario in that mentality. Think about let's say if let's just use my grandpa example. In his generation, everyone already left. Everything he has in his generation is all the cinewear or the crafts. And however, I think that is very important to make his life whole. Okay. The last one series I want to share is the Portrait of American Dreamer. Originally, this set of painting, we thought about using this title, but I like Ivar's recommendation even better. Couple reasons. In this body work, I intended to use much more vibrant color compared to the early work, really speaking. It's because normally, who use vibrant color? Children. And as adults, what do? We tend to hide. We don't want to throw a tantrum in public space. We want to more respect to each other, so therefore we hide. We call them more mature, which I understand. However, I want to create a juxtaposition to talking about the adults' issue. However, by potentially even using children's color palette, that might even give you a stronger dynamic to depicting the challenge and issue the body work had been addressed. Right before COVID, I felt quite discouraged by what I see in front of me. I'm not talking a big political issue, just simply my colleague, friends around me, what's happening to them. Again, not complaining. I'm fortunately blessed. Tenure track professor, almost get tenured in University of Utah. I'm blessed. And I have a colleague who also teach there full-time. And guess what? Some of them, after they teach full-time, still have to drive Uber in order to just make pay for the rent on time. Again, not complaining. However, this is reality. Then I'm asking my students, how many of you be able to pay for, because we're talking about socialism research in the class, we're trying to understand where we're at. And how many of you be able to pay your rent on time without a loan? Shocking percentage, actually. So again, I'm glad to see Master Danny here too. A few years, Danny, yes. And Danny took me to Las Vegas in 2010. Yeah, I love the Mickey Mouse, all the lighting, music, shows. But I remember Danny said one thing. We were in front of inside a hotel to look at someone gambling. Someone probably lost everything. You said that. Someone was on a chair, something like that, covered the whole face by using a blanket or their own clothes. That image is stuck into me so long. Actually, I used for this painting. So in this series, you will see a mask using the white blanket. Yes, we are on the bus and cover our face. Nobody wants to see the reality and what's happening in front of us, because if we talk about it, we might not even have the courage to looking at tomorrow. And again, I just want to creating a imaging for again my surrounding, working class, even working so hard, so many jobs, barely getting by. Where's the American dream? I come to United States, believe everyone works hard, you will be able at least to get by. In reality, I don't know this is the case. I'm not doing social commentary. I'm only talking by my own observation, near circle, 2 feet around me, nothing else. And white collar and similar blue collar working on a similar concept. And this painting, Walkers, again, similar subject matter, but one thing difference is that I don't mind we using a phone to look at the information. I do the same thing too. But one problem is that maybe the algorithm, the news feed, the information provided to me constantly serve my taste, my political view, the artwork I like, making me feel everyone is different with me on political view or artwork. There's something wrong with them. That's a very dangerous thought or behave, I believe, especially as a teacher. I need to be more open. But however, again, this is a phenomenon is that in this scenario that the what's in front of us seemingly supposed to be guidance become a potential limitation. And one more piece I want to show is that this work, I had 2 titles. One is called White Flag, another one called Blank. So in this 2 group of protest, I'm not going to tell you which group is what, but actually from 2 separate political parties during protest. The only difference is I removed the content from the flag. And scary right now, even that because you are different with me, you have a different look, different talk, different background, then you become my enemy. That's very scary. When the moment we can starting a more civilized conversation, I wonder using this painting as an opportunity to create something similar between 2 seemingly opposite party. What's that? We both believe in something. That could be a starting point. That's this concept from my teacher, actually. Ghost Town. And actually, this piece created during COVID. What is being covered body normally by using white sheet? Only 2 scenarios most of the time, I should say. One is someone died, passed away, or someone playing a ghost. But I was quite frightened during COVID period. I'm sure many of us are not sure what's going next. And keep hearing, at least in the beginning of a pandemic, you keep hearing report how many people passed away and keep fighting for oxygen tank and not short on staff. In that kind of scenario, really deep in that affecting my psyche. And I'm looking outside my window thinking, wow, maybe the whole city, whoever is walking on the street, might be in the next day going to be no longer there. Almost play a dark comedy, calling this piece as a ghost town. Okay, enough that section. Very last part presentation. Just want to touch base on the what's going on in my current research. Maybe after, I don't know, 5 years, 7 years, heavily content, I have to be honest, is that I felt slightly lightened, not enlightened, lightened my heart. I think I left all the difficulty and challenge on the canvas. Then for some reason, I felt big, heavy rock is being lifted. So I shifted my gear on painting. Yes, I'm still going to pay attention what's happening in front of me, 3 foot, 5 foot, 10 foot tops. But rather just keep looking at the dark side, giving slightly sense of hope and mourning. And currently the series I'm mostly working is that code is the Double Reflection series. And the second part name is Searching for American Travel with Charlie. By the way, it's one of the first English book I read in English school here. And this painting slightly connected with the early field piece, starting with that, again, potentially someone alive could sit next to us, but right now it's a mural. But at the same time, I shift the gear, is that how are we looking at each other today? How we connect to each other today? Probably mostly through digital screen, these triangle-shaped windows. But in term connection, more and more, I don't feel has any lesser emotional engagement. One thing I want to share is that I in the past 10 years, I only see my mom physically 10 times at the top. But our connection doesn't have any lesser because of being communicated constantly every week through WeChat or similar with Zoom. And similarly, I know many of you might disagree with me. I do enjoy teaching on Zoom for some class. For instance, introduction for drawing. There's a benefit. I know this difficult comes to ceramic, printmaking, even painting. But however, the benefit for teaching online with drawing is that teaching drawing class is that people start talking more with me. And they make more work sometimes more personal. They feel comfortable to make a mistake. That's very, very encouraging for me as a teacher. The reason I'm trying to create this body work is that sometimes maybe we look beyond just the challenge of using the digital media. Maybe we celebrate a little bit. We're looking into how can we, I don't know, making good use of it. For the class could teach on Zoom or communicate through online, or if it's beneficial for some certain group, let's try it instead of absolutely deny the benefit part of it. I know, gosh, if my peer hear me talking about this, I'm gonna have a conversation. Okay. And similar, I want to create the experience. In this painting, Double Reflection, you will see in the, what's it called, the window blankets, right? Is another projection of window blankets. I think in terms of secondary information we see on digitally become the real information now, which is fine. By the way, I love ChatGPT. My wife keeps saying, this is my new, yeah, friend. Okay, and one last painting I want to show today, I think about time, is the timer. This painting made for each of you. I love you guys because you take time to come here to listen some wild kid talking nonsense. I know everyone's time is so precious. And if even just come to see someone's artwork, to talk someone on the street, take a lot of courage, take a lot discipline. So once again, I really appreciate you all spent your energy, your effort, your time, your attention in this stadium and come to see the show once again. Love you all. Thank you very much.